Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Tamer Talk, the official Wild Hearts podcast. I am Dawn, the director of communication, and this time joined by DankestDad. Thank you so much for joining. How you doing?
Doing well. Making my way through the week, but Tamer Talk definitely is a good way to break it up. So glad to be here and talk some Wild Hearts.
Absolutely. So let's get started by talking about just kind of what we've been up to, what we've been doing, and then we'll jump into talking about the Kickstarter and some other cool things that we have for you all. So, would you like to start, or do you want me to kick things off?
Yeah, I can go for it. So, lots of family time. I have a 3-week-old nephew now, so it is great to get to spend some time with him, my niece, brother-in-law, sister-in-law. Also got to do some fighting games with friends this weekend, and even though I am pretty washed, I did get to commentate some Marvel vs. Capcom, which is always a blast. But yeah, doing well, living life, and making my way to Thanksgiving. How about you?
Yeah, I love doing commentary. Doing commentary is like it's it is love. It is life. It's it's amazing. It's
Yeah,
so much fun.
you've done a little bit of that, huh?
Yeah, yeah, just a little bit over my last 8 years as a caster, uh, doing a lot of work. But speaking of getting to cast, we had Simba on previously, so Chase and I casted the finals of the Midland Showdown, which was great. But then we had Halloween, which was a lot of fun. If y'all didn't see my costume, definitely recommend checking that out. That was right after the Tamer talk with Simba. Um, I dressed up and had a blonde wig and everything, which was just like totally shell shocking in a way, right? It's like clearly I am not blonde, so then being blonde was super weird. It was very different, but it was a lot of fun. Played some games for community night on Halloween, and then got to watch some other people and kind of cast and solo cast, which was still a lot of fun. I love casting and commentating, so that was great. Um, I appreciate other people playing so that I can do that on stream, and we get to showcase people's games and different play. And um, you know, as I said, being dressed up for Halloween was a lot of fun too. So thank you for everyone who showed up for that, because that was a very fun night for me. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Um, let's see, what else have I been up to? Sometimes I feel like the list of what I haven't been doing is shorter than what I have been doing, just because I end up being so busy with all the things that I do. Um, but we ran the campaign, so I was very focused on that for a lot of that. Finishing our Kickstarter campaign and ending that off strong. Um, what else have I been doing? I got to play in a Star Wars pre-release event, a Star Wars Unlimited pre-release event, which
Nice.
did not go very well. But
Oh, that not nice.
yeah, that part wasn't great. But it was still fun. It was cool to play with the new cards and get to play and do something a little different. And then just been plugging away, working more. Uh, and I guess the other exciting kind of thing is today is my birthday. So
What? You
yeah.
can't. You have to open with that.
No, I wanted to just slide it in there, like slide in the DMs kind of thing. Just like slide it in at the last minute.
That's so rude. Happy birthday. Good jeez.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, so got some birthday plans. Had some like birthday meal celebration over the weekend, and did a little bit of relaxing over the weekend, but not much. But the little bit felt like a lot, so that was good. Um, and then I have a group of friends that we're going with tonight for a birthday celebration at my local brewery, or one of them, I should say, because there's multiple breweries in town. But One of them, they do a couple times a month, they do a like free to play bingo night, which if you've listened to the show, you've probably heard me talk about bingo because yes, today I'm 36, but I'm going on like 83. So, there's that. So I love bingo. Um and they do like a free to play bingo, and they offer as prizes, they offer like 6 packs of beer or like gift cards for the brewery, or like brewery merch, like one of the last times they were giving away like a beanie for the brewery. So, you know, nothing like super intense or anything that would draw like huge gigantic crowds of people trying to win a bunch of money or anything like that, but um, still a lot of fun, and getting to enjoy just having a drink and playing some bingo with people. So I have some friends taking me out tonight to do that, and they're going to be buying me dinner and buying me drinks and stuff, so I'm very much looking forward to that.
Hey, awesome way to spend your birthday. That sounds great.
Yes. And Tamer Talk, getting to talk about Wild Hearts, so there's that too, which is, I love Wild Hearts and getting to talk about it, so very excited.
Yeah. All right. So, where are we starting? What are we talking about?
So
Campaign for Series Zero has just come to a close.
it did. It did. So the campaign ended. We ended just above $9,000 raised, which, thank you so much to everybody for backing, for supporting, for bringing in friends, family, anything that you were able to do, or backing yourselves. We appreciate every single backer who supported the campaign. So thank you so much for that, and everybody that was able to share the campaign, anything like that as well. That felt like it went a long way in some cases, so we definitely appreciate that. The Midland Showdown and the content that people put out around that, that helped as well, kind of spread the word about Wild Hearts and the campaign. So we really appreciate those ambassadors for doing that as well. And you know what? I think that it went well, and I know that there's some people who might be upset that they missed it, be a little bummed, but don't worry, because starting today we are opening late pledges. So if you did miss it and you still want to get in on that, then make sure that you join in during the late pledge session, I guess, the era of late pledges, and still get in on this campaign. Um, and because we are opening late pledges, we will also be still working towards that 10K stretch goal, which is um, to be able to add in um, a watercolor familiar alpha variant to the 2 player starter sets. So each and every 2 player starter set will have one of those included if we hit that 10K goal, which I think is pretty awesome. So, because there's definitely a lot of players that have hit the 2 player starter sets, and maybe even getting two to make sure that you have like a full card collection. So, you'll be getting two of those if we hit that goal. So, if you know anybody that did miss it or wants in, then get in on those late pledges and make sure that you help us get to that 10K goal so that we can get those watercolor alpha variants in there.
Yeah, and they're pretty sweet. I know I would definitely love to get my hands on one of those, but yeah, getting a nice, beautiful Chrism or Owl, I think of the two starters, those are my favorites. But yeah, definitely more than worth it. And, like the more people playing this game, the better. Like while getting that is nice. Like really, I would be happy about that 10,000, just knowing that that means other people are coming in, playing the game, and, there are more people to share this with. And that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there were several people who were like getting their local communities in, and, making sure that they were helping get people that can play in their local community to pledge, so that they actually have groups, so that once the once the product gets in from this campaign, then they can actually play physically in their local group. So that's definitely awesome to see. And that's what it's all about, is actually being able to play with your friends, play with local groups, right? Play with other people, and not just in like that online digital format with the mod. So being able to actually play in person is
Hmm.
is so much different of an experience, I feel like. And I know that kind of you and I have talked about this a little bit previously, maybe on other podcasts and stuff, but you and I got to meet for Gen Con, and we got
Yes.
to physically play card games together and against each other both. And it was like so different than just playing online.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the next time it goes a little better. I know, unfortunately for both of us, Dawn did not win a single game she played with me, which is a big asterisk because we were teammates for about as many as we were against each other. So,
Yes.
taste of victory next time for sure. We'll have to duo up against Randy and win the 2v1 or something, but we'll see.
That's right. That's right. Yes. But who doesn't want to play Wild Hearts in person? I think that's the point we're making here. So, if you have people that you want to play with locally, friends, family, anything like that, let them know that those late pledges are open, and that they can still get in and get some cards. So that's definitely, the 10K is just like a cherry on top, but being able to actually get your product is the thing that's most important. So make sure you get those in. All right. You know what's also kind of exciting that we want to talk about?
Birthday cake?
Ooh. You know what? I didn't even think about birthday cake. I don't even know if I'm getting cake. I just thought about that. I know. I know. That's all right. Maybe I'll buy myself a little cake today.
All
Who
right.
knows?
Well, yeah, that was it. Birthday cake. Wrap the show. Good job, everyone.
That's it. End of the show. Yep. No. But it is sparkly. And how about let's talk about foiling of cards? And we want to show some stuff here. We're going to talk about Glaciafly first and kind of talk about the foiling on this, because it might be a little bit hard to visualize for some people until you actually see it in its foil format. Yeah, it's sometimes hard to visualize, and some people have a much harder time with that than others. But we want to try to make this as easy to understand as possible. So we have the side by side here. This is what's called the white layer part of the card, and basically everything that's black is what's going to be the like complete rainbow foiled, and then you'll be able to see all of the white and stuff on top and the coloring. So I think this one is absolutely beautiful, just envisioning like the rainbow behind all of these snowflakes and behind this butterfly. What do you think about this one, John?
I think it's really nice. And, with stuff like this, I love when things like the little rarity heart and the snowflakes are just going to really pop up against the background. I know for me, that's pretty exciting. And also, I know that, like, while it was in discussion with the community, sort of the new card template where we have, like, sort of the color splashed on the back up against the white border. Like, I know that at least in the regular printing, I was not the most enthused about that at first because I was short-sighted, and seeing how this pops with foil is really, really sick. So definitely excited once like a few more of those have been made past proofs of concept and we get to see them, how they're gonna like go with you guys. But I'm really, really looking forward to this, and I think that just between the art itself and the new card design, the foil is gonna be excellent.
Yeah, the graphic design of the cards is definitely something that, like with the foiling, it was brought up kind of after the fact. Uh, but yeah, talking about like how can we actually work with this new graphic design and foiling and kind of really make it pop, like you said, like is it's exciting and it's something that's very different than what other card games have done. So it's just yet another thing to like help us stand out from other card games.
All right, for sure.
All right. Well, we also have a very exciting uh reveal as well. Talking about foiling. We want to show one other card here and kind of the foiling aspect on it, but we're also getting to reveal an alternate art. Here you go. The Vesperoon and the alternate arts.
So this one's really pretty. It's actually my first time seeing it too. And, you know, I definitely like sort of this how this one goes. I think there's just something about the bat being upside down that does it for me. But
Yes.
I also just love playing with this card. Dawn and I played some Hearthstone back in our day, and we know that recurring those battle cry, or in this case debut effects, can be pretty sweet. And Vesperoon's a really fun way to do that. We also, have been seeing more ways to sort of double down on this with familiars come about. And Vesperoon lets you extend that to allies as well with its own
Mm-hmm.
debut. So you can do some really cool chains and make some of these debuts just pop over and over again. There's this tactics card called the Turpion that, contrary to popular belief, can make some pretty big plays and is a pretty exciting build around. And if you can Vesperoon and get Turpion to go off maybe like 4 times over the course of a game as opposed to one, uh, boy, you can earn a lot of incidental points and just absolutely run away with games. It's very cool.
Yes. Yes, it is. And I'm glad you brought that up because I did get to do that last community night and I got to pull that off. And I actually started with a lucky hat. So I got to play out the Turpion a turn earlier, a round earlier than I normally would have too. So I got a lot of extra victory points. I think it was like around 8 extra victory points just from the Vesperoon re-triggering that effect. So
That's
yeah, it was
sick.
it was pretty awesome. But let's take a look at what the white layer on this one looks like for that foiling. So the branch and the bat itself will be kind of white, and then everything around it will be that rainbow foil with kind of different varying degrees of that foiling throughout the card, showing off the background and really kind of highlighting and bringing that bat to life, I think.
For sure. And, like foiling like this, I think it's pretty awesome too. Because when you do have some, because like not every piece in Wild Hearts has like sort of the central focal point character or figure. And with foiling like this, the Vesperoon is actually going to pop off the page a bit, like 2.5 or 3D. And, especially for your familiar, which is such a big focus, I love that for this card.
Yeah. And I love that it's the alt art as well, right? The special alternate art getting a foiling as well. So it's even more special on top of that. And it's just it feels so cool. And yeah, to kind of have that like classic bat hanging upside down kind of look and be foiled just seems like it's going to be so exciting. So I can't wait to see what it actually looks like in, in the final form, but just this white layering and kind of trying to picture and visualize what it will look like with that foiling is pretty exciting.
Definitely.
All right. Well, we have one more big thing to talk about. We've kind of rapid fired this episode, talked through these, but one big thing that I know a lot of people are really excited for, that they've been talking about, that they have been looking forward to, is kind of more open, competitive tournaments. And we've talked about it before with the Roost, and we kind of announced it in the last Tamer Talk. Um, and we announced it in one of the updates on Kickstarter, and we've definitely had a lot of interest. So if you didn't hear already, basically the concept for these upcoming tournaments is to have a field that's a central focus for each event, and this field would be special for the event. Every player that competes in the tournament would get a special copy of this card of the field, and you kind of have to build around the field and build around your familiars and play around what your opponent is doing as well in that. So there's kind of all of these layers for building your deck, how you want to build your deck, how you want to play against the field, and what you think other people might be doing against that field in terms of, you know, their decks or their familiars. So there's definitely going to be like a lot of layers, a lot of different aspects that go into this. But the first one that we've talked about is the Roost, and we actually have that to show you all here. Oh, if I can pull up the correct image. There we go. So the Roost is a 4 victory point field with the dangerous and magic traits that says when a judge card is revealed, if the tiebreaker is odd, discard 1 card from your hand, then draw 1. And if it's even, trigger the debut effects of your familiars in this field. So when a judge card is revealed is going to happen after you place your familiars before you start playing. And that's going to happen each round. So 3 or 4 times, depending on, you know, if somebody makes it to 20 victory points in round 3, then it'll only happen 3 times. But most likely 4 times. And the tiebreaker is actually a small number in the bottom, I believe it's the bottom right corner of the card. There's just like a really small number down there. So that's what that is referring to with if it's odd or even. So this can create some really kind of crazy scenarios, crazy things. Discarding a card from your hand and drawing one, I immediately think ferocity, right? Like ferocity benefits from a lot of discard and stuff like that. But if you're discarding, that can also throw off some of your plays no matter what style you're playing. So, you know, maybe you end up discarding an important card that you were just about to play that round, or a card that you were saving to play in response to what your opponent's doing. But you also get to draw a card, so you could draw into something that helps you as well. And then for the even effect, triggering the debuts of familiars in this field is really interesting as well, because it kind of makes your decisions on what familiars you want to play, right? Do you want to be bringing familiars that have debuts? And then if you did bring those, do you want to be placing them in that field and seeing what happens? Seeing, you know, is that going to be the field that gets turned off or inactive during the round? Is that going to be something that you're not even considering? You're like, I'm just going to put this familiar in the field anyways because of the chance of it hitting an even number, you know. And there's just so many potential things that can happen with this, and so many decisions that you can make just off of this one field.
Definitely. And I also think it's like kind of a pretty cool skill test because you can play around this effect if you are tracking the judge's deck. It's just another reward for that. So if you've been playing the first 2 rounds and you've seen 2 odds come up, your incentive to, you know, place into this field and look for that even with your debut familiar is really high. And, you know, you also know that if your opponent has them, that they're going to be looking to take advantage as well. So give some really cool opportunities for skill expression in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a question about this card though. So lurking lurking over there at set number or rarity, we've got a little LOP, if I can see correctly with these old eyes, under that heart. What does that mean?
So I can't tell you what that means at this time, but I can tell you, and I think that we have revealed this before, but the Roost, so the way that our series and sets work, right, is we have our series laid out, and the series laid out over the course of a year equals the first set. Uh, we have up to the full set three already like worked on and completed. So this, the Roost, is not in set one, two, or three. So if you play in the tournament and get the Roost, you have a card that no one else is going to have access to for essentially the next 3 years. So that is that is another incentive to want to play in the tournament and get this field. I I'm sure that doesn't fully answer your question, but I hope that answers it as best I could with the info that I am allowed to say.
Yeah, well, I guess this tells me that 36 is still not old enough to know what LOP means. Maybe they'll tell you next year.
That's right. That's right. Yep. Nope, I don't get special info just because it's my birthday, unfortunately.
Ah,
And even
shucks.
if I did have it, it's one of those like maybe I'm not allowed to say it, so we don't want to be spoiling anything too far ahead of time, right?
Hey, fair enough. So, question though, which familiar though are you going for with this? I know you sort of brought up ferocity, so maybe some Infernander vibes or
I mean,
another
yeah,
familiar
there
you want to try.
there could be there could be some Infernander vibes going on with the odd, but also, man, that Vesperoon for me is just like sticking out with the debuts. I mean, if you can trigger the debut effect to trigger another debut effect of an ally and get that even more after you've just triggered the debuts for debuting your Vesperoon, like debut inception. That's what I'm that's where my mind is immediately drawn to.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of cool ones. Like, even something like Trossum is really neat. If you're looking to go for board flood early, you can just get those mirror images flowing in a way that's super nice.
Yeah.
I know, like Tornado and the Skyson also are pretty neat for just being able to zip around the board and just have whatever position you need. Like, especially with this, where your opponent might be trying to stack it, that card lets you sort of flexibly move out if they hit their payoff. Like there are just
Yes.
so many. Oh, Jellycane, of course. You can take another spin to win. Like there's so many cool ideas that this field promotes, and yeah, I think that on top of being novel, like the play experience it promotes is very good.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing for this field in particular for me is the kind of like how do you want to hedge your bets for the odd versus even? Like do you want to bring one familiar that benefits from the odd and one familiar that benefits from the even and play them together? Or do you want to go all in on like one of them, right? And like just say I'm going to bring familiars that really benefit from discarding and or I'm going to bring both familiars that have debut effects to really hit on the even numbers. um and I
Yeah,
think that that's something that's really interesting to me as well, as like how people are going to kind of mix and match the familiars to go with this.
totally. And like the discard one is so interesting too. Because like the way I would attack this personally is I would double up on the debuts for familiar. You can't get lucky unless you give yourself a chance. So having two familiars that can take advantage of the effect gives me flexibility in my game plan and the chance to take advantage when it happens. As for the discard though, I'm not sure. Because you can play something where you have a familiar like the Infernander that rewards you for discarding, but that does also have downsides. If you're discarding a lot, you're going to have a small hand, and if you have a small hand, you may have to discard one of those key pieces just because you can't hold on to it. You don't have the space. So the other angle where this works out is sort of maintaining that big hand where you have the opportunity to turn that into selection. And there are all these warnings from the designers about flying too close to the sun, getting milled with enchanted draft. It can't happen to you. Don't believe them. Just doubling cube, get drafted to your heart's content, draw your cards. You'll be fine. At least that's what I'm gonna try. So it will never backfire, no sir.
That's right. I love the confidence. I love it. Um,
Yes.
yeah, the other interesting thing too is if you are bringing familiars that have debut effects, it is only your familiars in this field. So that also does kind of force your familiar placement a little bit as well if you're really trying to lean into that as much as possible, which kind of can signal to your opponent, hey, they are likely to play both of their familiars into this same field. So it might entice, your opponent to place their familiars in the other two fields, kind of play around that, go for, fighting for other fields and like let you kind of have that one, which maybe is good, maybe is bad. If it's odd and you hedged your bets on debuts and then you don't get it, that's a big swing and a miss. But yeah, it's really interesting, right? There's again a lot of decisions, a lot of like how you want to play your familiars and then how you build your deck around that too. Like you said, for are you are you going to be okay with just discarding stuff and then drawing a new card? Is that fine? Are you wanting to play into that? Um, are you wanting to try to have that bigger hand like you said, or have lots of draw so that the discard isn't as relevant? Um, there's just so many different ways, and I'm really excited to see, especially in um I feel like a wider pool, I want to say, like a wider player pool. We'll see much more diversity, is what I'm hoping. I feel like we saw a lot of diversity in the Midland Showdown with the ambassadors and creators, but I feel like if we're going to have, double or even triple the amount of players in this Roost event, Rampage and the Roost, then there's even more room for creativity and flexibility. And that's not even considering like what other fields people want to bring too, right? If they're looking at the Roost and saying, "Hey, I'm going to play these debuts," maybe they are playing the Skyson or Tornado, and then they want to bring fields like Oliver's Inlet for Skyson, or something else. So it's really interesting to me to think about like what people could bring and what they want to bring with this.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool options. I know for me, I'm like partially excited to pair this with something like Crag or Plateau, depending on how I build my deck, just for another high value field that pressures opponents to keep their familiars elsewhere. And, if I were doing that, I could take advantage maybe with a Glacifly or a strategy like that, where suddenly I'm able to pump up this Glacifly in the Roost or in the Crag, and my opponents are going to have less options to deal with it. Like, and that's just one of the many, many combinations of fields that you could bring that could play really well with this. So get looking, check out the cards, and I'm sure there is more than a handful of strategies that are gonna make you happy when you have to play with the Roost.
Yes, absolutely. We wanted it to be something that was very interesting and different, but still something that people can, have decisions with. So I feel like this is a very good place to be for the Roost. Also, I love we haven't even talked about the actual like art and the layout, but that's definitely like a very large geyser, kind of like you would see in like Yellowstone National Park. So I definitely love the artwork and the kind of visualization of the places as well. So
Yeah. So I think it begs the question of what roosts on a geyser, but you should check your lore book if you want to know, right?
that's right. That's right. Also, I'm just excited because the Roost is dragons, and even though we're doing this in this series zero kind of time frame when there's not as many dragons as there will be later on down the road, um it's also, as you said, kind of leaning into the lore book. The Roost is located in the Great White North, so kind of falling in that winter time frame, right? So we're planning, we're thinking. We've got plenty more tournaments and things to be had in the future as well, with all these other locations and fields and some more interesting places from the lore book. So I'm just excited for these tournaments as well. Like, I love tournaments. I love getting to commentate, as we talked about earlier, and getting to see people deck build and kind of how they maneuver the challenge, and kind of fitting in this challenge into a tournament to shake things up and not just be like a complete free for all, I think is very exciting.
Absolutely. And I hope I get a chance to cast it too, because if not, I'm gonna have to play. And you know, if you're afraid of me or like me, you should enter this tournament so that I can cast. It will be awesome. I promise.
That's right. That's right. Uh, I love how you said that though. You're like, oh, well, I'll have to play, like as if that's the worst thing ever. Like, oh man, if
I
your
mean,
choices are playing or getting to commentate, wow, what a life.
yeah, it's all about opportunity cost, right? Because I
True.
mean, I would much rather do either than not play, but I really like to cast, so big
Yes.
toss up. And especially a game like Wild Hearts where there are so many choices, so many things to consider. Like there's a lot of meat on the bone of what happens in any given turn. And I think that for a caster that's really nice
Mm-hmm.
because, some games you play your one drop in one and you pass, and the casters are either trying to keep up, don't really get a chance to theorize about what's going on in the game just because plays are, moving too quickly. It's a little bit like sort of a solved chess opening where things are just happening fast, and until you get into that meaty mid game, you are, trying to rely a bit on banter or something else to sort of bridge that gap. Whereas for Wild Hearts, just as soon as you sit down, like that first play can be one that it's going to take the player some time to figure out, and the casters could go on about. Like I can't even imagine what like a coaching session for this game would look like, or trying to break down like any like series of complex turns. Just oof, so much to unpack. But that's why I like to cast it, because it's
Yes.
a cool problem that with another caster you can attack together and sort of unravel for the viewer, and I think that's really fun.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And being able to, talk about all of the different potentials and talk about, even if you're wrong, right? Even if you're like, you say something and then the players do something completely different. There's so many different lines and options and potentials that's what makes it interesting to talk about and commentate for, is that there's so many options. And with Wild Hearts, as you said, it kind of skips that turn one, right, where it's you already start with two resources to be able to play stuff out, so it's not just as limiting right off the get-go as some other games are. So, and then, as we've already talked about, we literally have just sat here and talked about this single card and all of the different potential. Now imagine getting into, a spectating game where we actually can break down and talk about, okay, so these players brought these familiars, and then we can talk about why they might have done that and the potential, and then how they build their deck based on those familiars, and just break it down even more from there. So yes, definitely. And you and I have got to cast together. It's been quite a while since we have. So I do hope that we get to cast some Wild Hearts together. That would be very exciting.
For sure. Because, yeah, it's been almost like 2 years. That doesn't sound right, but it's true. So,
Has
hopefully,
has it only been 2 years? Because I feel like it's been longer than that.
maybe I'd have to look back. Because I want to say it was when Titans came out for Hearthstone. So, that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Eh, yeah, 3 years. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes. Well, speaking of having fun, we hope that you all have fun playing the Roost and playing the Rampage in the Roost event. And as John and I have already stated, we are looking forward to it, and it's going to be a good time.
Definitely. So keep your eyes out and yeah, look to get some late pledge cards if you don't have your stuff ready and are looking to play. And yeah, it's going to be sweet. I'm looking forward to seeing all the decks and seeing people either at the table as I cast or on the other side as I play. But will be a great time no matter what.
Yes, yes, I agree. And we might have some even more special stuff for people as well who are playing in the event. So, as we've stated before, everybody that participates would get a copy of that field, the Roost, and a heart pack, which contains 3 alternate art foil cards. Wow, I don't know why that was so difficult to say, but try saying that 5 times fast. uh and you know that is that's an incentive on its own, but we're working on some other things above and beyond that as well.
Alternate art foil cards, alternate art foil cards, alternate art foil cards, alternate art foil cards, alternate art foil cards. Yeah, with the magic of editing, I can do anything. Or no editing, either way. Your choice. But
Yep,
that
no
was pretty
editing,
neat.
that's going in. You
All
did it
right,
much better than
awesome.
I did.
Hey, I had some time to mentally prepare, sort of,
That's
you know,
okay.
build myself up.
That's what it is. Yes. um I also have one last thing before we close out this show, and that is that moving forward, we have some ideas and some changes coming to Tamer Talk itself. So stay tuned for that. But if you have ideas, if you have things that you'd like to see us do, talk about, uh, you'd like to see in the show itself, reach out to us. Let us know. Comment on this video. Get in the Discord and let us know. Send us an email, wildheartstcg@gmail.com. Anything. We appreciate all the feedback that people send us. So, we do this for you to share information, to show stuff, and to get a little bit more personal and share some of, like what we are up to, what we're doing, um, as people and as individuals as well. So, it's not just about sharing the info and getting right to business and then cutting it off. We want to make it a little bit more personal, but we have some ideas on some things going forward. So if you do as well, again, let us know. We'd love to hear it. All right. Well, I think that is going to wrap it up for this episode of Tamer Talk. Thank you so much again for joining me this week, John. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Happy to be here.
Right. Do you have any
And
other closing thoughts or statements before we let everybody get to their day?
yeah, so make sure to go into the Discord, spam constant questions about what LOP is because it's what they don't want you to know. So
That's right.
could be anything, but yeah, I mean, just hate to see that there's such a huge lack of transparency here, where this mysterious acronym will just remain unknown to players, perhaps forever. So fix that. I know. I'll make up acronyms if they don't. It'll get worse.
Oh,
So
that's yes.
yeah,
Maybe it stands for Land of Potatoes.
we're
Never
going to
know.
Idaho for set 2. Crazy. Could
You
be
know,
anywhere.
could be anywhere.
Could stand for love our players.
That's true.
It could be that. Kind of doubt it though. Maybe. Maybe they love us. Mm.
I think we do. I think we do. Enough to make an acronym? We'll see. No, we do. We really love our players. So that's why we always ask for feedback and why we want to do things for you all. So thank you again for joining me. And Yes, get in the Discord, ask those questions, and we will see you next time on Tamer Talk.